Morning, Noblesville, and all those who are watching outside of Noblesville. I've got to train myself. It's because there's a lot of folks from all over Kristen Boyce that join us, which is awesome, and that's what we love to hear. It is Monday, the 27th day of September. Regardless of where you are, I can tell you in Noblesville, Indiana right now, it is a gorgeous fall morning, although it's going to get a little warm this week, which is exciting as well. I am Mayor Chris Jensen. Glad to be with you once again on another edition of Mental Health Monday. I am joined by my good friend, the owner of Pathways to Healing Counseling, Kristen Boyce. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning, Mayor Jensen. I'm so delighted to be here with you again today.
Always awesome to have you, Kristen and I. Before we went on, we're just talking about our weekends and how just it's a fun time of year. It's an exciting time of year. My daughter went with my brother to the pumpkin patch yesterday, so that's always fun. A lot of things going on outside in our community. So, Kristen, it's a good time, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any more challenges in life and a lot of things that we're all juggling. So that's what we're here to talk a little bit about today. We have a really cool topic. We're going to talk about saying sorry and how to apologize, how not to apologize, lessons learned about apologizing. I was telling Kristen that I am guilty as charged of probably the non-apology apology. You're probably going to go into much more medical terminology around some of these phrases, but I am the king of some of that sometimes. So please join us on this conversation today. But before we get started, as always, we start with a great exercise in square breathing. Kristen Boyce, I'll let you lead us through that.
So this is the number one strategy I teach everybody, and every week we come together to practice this. It's one of those that you need to practice. Every hour on the hour is what I teach people, just to start getting your body adjusted to breathing first rather than reacting. So you can begin to respond to whatever comes your way, the hard, the grief, all the emotions, in a place of centeredness. And that's not easy to do. Let's face it. It's so easy to get reactive and intense rather than take a deep breath, come back to center and self-soothe. So we're going to start with our feet on the floor. It's called square breathing. So get comfortable in your seat. We're going to press into our feet. We're going to inhale through our nose for 4, hold for 4, and exhale slowly out our mouth for 8, like you're cooling a cookie or cooling soup. So let's do it together, pressing into your feet. Big inhale. And we're holding and release. You'll notice how long we held that exhale. It was long to get that full benefit of that full belly breath. We're going to do one more together, pressing into your feet. And release. I'm letting out all that tension in my body, all that tightness, as we lean into this hard conversation today about apologizing. And when we were coming on, you gave the perfect example of how sometimes people apologize and how we apologize. Can you share that? Because I thought that was a great start.
Well, it was in my job, as you can imagine, Kristen, at times I get just some criticism here and there, a few opinions every once in a while of something I do. And most of the time it's always very welcome. I always welcome feedback. And so, and real quickly too, if anyone's on today and has questions or feedback, feel free to type that in the chat. We want to answer, and if you have a funny story to share about apology, feel free to share it. This is your half an hour to discuss. But I was saying that I am the king of people will be mad about something. And I'll usually say, well, I'm sorry that you took it that way, or I'm sorry that you felt that way. But, so I imagine you're going to tell me that's not really me apologizing as much as it's more assuring myself that I was right, maybe along those lines. But so that was my example. I find myself doing that quite often. And I imagine you're going to teach me a little bit about that today.
I think that's one of the most common ways people apologize. And that's why I thought it was such a great example, because we think I'm apologizing, and really we're bypassing the apology. An apology is one of the greatest gifts you can offer to somebody else, truly. And it takes such a sense of coming back to center to be able to truly listen to someone else's pain and emotions, even if it wasn't, maybe you feel like it's disproportionate to what happened. So for example, if someone gets super upset with something you said or did, and maybe it is rooted in the past, one of the greatest gifts we can offer is to take our deep breaths, self-soothe, so we can listen to someone else's pain. And that's not easy to do. Oftentimes, we weren't modeled what a healthy apology looks like. So this is brand new material, even for me when I learned this, because I used to do that too, and I still do sometimes. I catch myself. I'm sorry you feel that way. That's one of the apologies where you kind of feel like you got slimed on, and you're like, ooh, that felt really awful. And so the first don't of an apology is to eliminate the word but. And we've talked about this in other previous episodes together, is no longer using the word but, because what we're doing then is we're rationalizing, minimizing, and criticizing what someone's feelings and emotions about what was said or what wasn't said. And so the first thing I say is, when you go, I'm sorry, but you were yelling at me. Okay, we don't really apologize. We just shift the blame to somebody else. And while that may be true, that's not the art of an apology. So the first thing about an apology, the first do it about apology, is to center yourself first by taking a deep breath and saying, okay, because what we want to do, we are naturally defensive. We are human species, and we naturally are defensive. We want to protect ourselves from the hurt, the pain, or maybe we feel like it's not right. We feel like that's wrong. We feel like that's untrue. And so we want to come at it, and we're very defensive. And the first thing I want to say is watch your defensiveness, because that will get in the way of connection. Regardless if it's an apology or not, defensiveness really negates what we really want, which is to be seen, heard, understood, acknowledged, loved, validated. It really creates disconnection, discontentment, detachment, and dysfunction. And not all the time, but I'm just saying in general. So when it comes to an apology, the first thing is we're coming back to center, and we're taking responsibility for our behavior and how that behavior might have impacted, hurt someone else, caused someone else pain. And it's not easy to do. I mean, let's kind of face it. And when we can model this for our children and do this, and I call it a rewind. So let's say in the moment you're like, well, why did you do that? Which is very shaming. And I'm looking disgusted at my child. And they're going, gosh, mom, why are you getting so angry with me? Why are you like, they're having a response. And then I can go, okay, let me rewind. I can see, I am so sorry. I can see how that was really hurtful, and my facial expression caused shame. And I'm sorry I hurt you. Tell me how that felt for you. That's an apology. Now, if I said, I'm sorry, but your attitude is totally unacceptable, and I've had enough of your attitude. Okay, I'm not really apologizing. You see, it's just like I'm shifting it to like, well, I wouldn't have done that had you not yelled at me. And so we can very quickly shift the blame to the other person, and it's not really an apology. And I hear this a lot with couples. They'll say, it doesn't feel like you really are sorry. And because when we don't feel like we're sorry, our facial expression can look very stone cold. It can look very flat. It can look very disconnected. And so someone's body language might be saying, you're saying I'm sorry, but your body language is conveying something different. And so this takes a lot of work. I'm making it sound really easy. This is the hardest work we'll do, is to come up with an authentic apology. So I work with the person saying, what do you think the other person who's hurting feels? And if I can get the other person to acknowledge and listen to their pain and say, I'm really sorry. I know I've hurt you so bad when I said that you are never there for me. Let's say someone says that, you're never there for me. And you can see how that hurt the partner. And so the partner might say, that's not really, I can see my words. That's not really what I meant. What I meant was, I feel very sad because I want to be there for you. And I see how when I'm not there for you, that's caused you a lot of pain. Tell me about that. Hearing the pain and witnessing it and being the empathic witness is a big part of apologies. And we're not taught that because we're trying to protect ourselves. We don't feel like it's accurate. We don't feel like it's true. So humbling ourselves to be able to just say, I hear you. I'm so sorry I caused you hurt and pain. Or let's say we know we're late for a meeting and we just totally don't even acknowledge it. So we just come in the room and we don't say, "Hey, I recognize I was late to that meeting and that's really disruptive to the whole group. And I really want to apologize for that. And I'm going to work on that. I'm going to not be late for meetings and really be intentional about that because I see how that is impacting the whole group." Instead of, there was traffic and I'm sorry, but I was doing the best I could to get here. It's not that big of a deal. So that would not be an apology. You can feel the difference.
So this is very helpful, and my good friend Daniel Gross was just commenting on how helpful it was. He's a phenomenal photographer, by the way. Everybody check him out. But back on this subject, I wanted to go down probably a rabbit hole that I'm going to get in trouble for in a little bit. But Julie Jensen, who is probably not watching this live right now, she's teaching, but she will watch it later because she wants to make sure I didn't say anything out of line. I am the apologizer in our family. A lot of men can probably pipe in on this a little bit. And sometimes I find myself, Kristen, apologizing for I'm not even sure why I'm apologizing. I'm usually apologizing to keep the peace.
Yes.
I'm the peacemaker in the family. So let's talk about that. But then also, if we maybe feel like we're always apologizing, it's really your fault most of the time. Not really, don't write that down, but you know what I mean. How do we get maybe a partner to realize that maybe they need to say sorry, or how do we kind of approach that subject if that makes sense at all?
Yes, I want to take the first part you said because I thought that was really important to keep the peace. I will apologize to keep the peace. It's called placating. There's a term for it, and we call it placation. So it's like, you know what? I just kind of want this to go away and all of us to be happy. Like, can we just not be over this already, or can we just move on? Really wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm just going to say sorry. Like you said, I don't even know what I'm apologizing for. I just kind of want to move on. I want everybody to be happy. And what happens in that scenario is then when you really are sorry, it doesn't hold a lot of meaning because it feels like it's placation again. It feels like it's just kind of, okay, I want this to go away. And so what you're learning to do is, what am I really apologizing for? And I think when you can go, okay, what was the pain that my partner had? What was the fear? What was that hurt between my partner? And I can acknowledge the emotions and that pain. That's a deep apology, being specific about what you're apologizing for. The I'm sorry you're feeling that way, or I'm sorry that you're hurting. Those are ones I hear a lot. I'm sorry that you're sad. Okay, that's not an apology. That is trying to just do what we think is apology to make the other person feel better, but now they don't feel better. So then what happens is we're waiting for the other person to kind of recognize their part in it, right? Like, I apologize. Now it's your turn to own your part. And when we get into that dynamic, we need to communicate with an I feel statement. And I love my core emotions. I feel sad because I really see my part in how I hurt you. And no buts. So we eliminate the word but. And I feel sad because I really wanted to create connection, and I see how I created disconnection. Help me understand what I could do differently next time. If I'm fishing for a sorry, that's gonna feel super empty, because guess what? Then the other person apologizes and you're like, well, you're just apologizing because I asked you to. And so then it becomes like this, right? Then it feels insincere. You're like, well, you're just doing that because I asked you for an apology. What we want from everybody, this is a great point, is for everybody to take responsibility for how they show up, their energy, their behavior, and how that impacts other people. When we can do that, we're in a healthy adult to adult relationship. So when I can do some self-reflection and go, oh my gosh, I can see how I woke up this morning and I was just irritable, and you did nothing, and I just kind of was irritable at you and got short with you. I like to do the circle back. Now, it doesn't mean that other person is going to apologize. And then we have to rumble through those emotions on, what am I looking for the other partner? What you're looking for is for them to own their own energy, their own behavior, and how that's impacted you. And you staying in alignment, you staying in your lane on you doing your apology work, you owning your thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions is the key. And I then can say, I feel really sad because I really want us to do this growing together. And I'm not sure how we both can take ownership of this. I feel like I'm taking ownership, and I feel sad because I want this to be a mutual process. So, fishing for an apology or hoping and waiting for an apology leaves you feeling resentful.
Mhm.
Really does, because we're waiting and hoping and going, well, I'm apologizing, you're not. When you kind of come at it with, and I hope we can do this work together where we're both owning our part. What are your thoughts on that? Help me kind of see your perspective on this. That helps. It doesn't mean the other person's going to come and just all of a sudden apologize. But
Right.
you see, I just caught myself with a but. And you are doing your own part to say, this is how I'm going to show up. I'm going to come with full responsibility for how I interact and the energy I bring into the space. Especially with parents, I think it's super important that we can apologize to our children
I was just
and
going to
they
transition
can.
that and ask about not only apologizing to our kids, but I'll get to in a minute how we work with our kids to own that and how we discuss this with them. But keep going. Sorry.
No, yes, I think that's a nice segue. I think one of the most important pieces for our children is to see ownership, accountability, and responsibility for our thoughts, our choices, our actions, our behavior, and our energy. And when we model that, you'll be shocked consistently, not just one time. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how that integrates into their way of showing up. Then they take responsibility, not for everybody's feelings. I want to make this very clear. I can't control or be responsible for how someone takes what I'm saying. I can be responsible for how I'm showing up. And let's say someone says, the look you gave me in the meeting this morning really hurt me. And I'm going, what look? Like, I didn't know I gave you a look. I'm not getting defensive. I go, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. That must have been so hurtful. Tell me more about that. What was that like for you? Very different response than what look? I didn't mean to give you a look. That wasn't my intention. That's another one that I hear often. That wasn't my intention. That's also a way to bypass. While that may be true, that wasn't your intention, that doesn't make a repair. So one of the things people will say, I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention at all to hurt you. Just take out that wasn't my intention out of the vocabulary. Instead, say, I am so sorry that hurt you. I can see how that really was really hurtful and sad for you. And the person's like, yes, and you looked at me. And I'm still going, I didn't know I looked at you. I'm just holding the space to witness the emotion. It's less about the content and more about the hurt and pain. So I'm now going, oh, tell me more about that. Help me understand what that was like for you. Well, yeah, you gave me this nasty look and I didn't know what I did. And I'm going, oh, well, tell me more about what came up when you thought when you've experienced this nasty look. We don't know how to do this. So we go, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention. And the person is left feeling like, well, no, I know. Well, whether it was or wasn't, I don't feel like there was a repair made there.
Mhm.
So it's an acknowledgement of the emotion is really being specific about that repair.
Well, I think that's important to know because, again, I think the whole that wasn't my intention. Well, the person clearly felt that. You can't deny that. And that's what you're talking about, really. It's like giving space for that person to have that feeling, correct?
Yes, you
Right.
got it.
Good. And
Yes.
I think that's part of the issue sometimes is that we're trying to defend ourselves and our actions, that we're not letting the other party express their feeling towards it. Regardless of how I think you should feel, you're entitled to feel the way you want to feel, or not the way you want to feel, the way you feel.
Yeah, and one of the key components you just said is creating space. So what we typically do is get defensive and want to shut it down. Like, that's not true. That's just not true. And instead of creating the space for that emotion to be processed,
Mhm.
and go, now it's not vomiting on you. It's someone really processing through the hurt, the pain, the sadness, the grief that came up because of it. An apology is one of the highest levels of self-actualization that you can get to. And what do I mean by that? That means it affects, like, somebody that has done some deeper work can go, oh, I'm not threatened by this person and them needing an apology. I can honor them needing an apology. I can meet them where they are without me feeling going into shame and guilt. So a lot of times shame will block us from an apology. So let's say someone says, well, you gave me a nasty look. And I'm going, well, now I feel like I'm a bad leader. Like I'm a bad person. Or my daughter says, well, you got really upset. You started yelling. And I'm like, I didn't yell. I'm feeling shame, like I'm a bad mom.
Mhm.
And so the shame can block me from apologizing because now I feel like I'm a bad person and I want to dispute that that's not true rather than say, oh, honey, I am so sorry. That must have been really scary for you that I was yelling and you got like you just wanted to kind of shut down and move away from me. And she's like, yeah, you were like, what? I don't even know what I did. And I'm going, yeah, that I am so sorry. Tell me more about that. And rather than me going into shame and going, well, I wasn't yelling at you because I feel like a bad mom. I wasn't getting mad at you. Like, what are you talking about? Now I'm shame. Now I'm leading with shame and defensiveness rather than acknowledgement. There's a big difference there. So self-actualization says, I'm secure with who I am and I can hold the space and not feel threatened. Now, if someone's getting angry, yelling at you, screaming, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a centered conversation where someone's saying, I feel really hurt. I feel really upset by what you said or did or didn't say or didn't do. And you're going, oh, I can see that was really hurtful. Tell me more about it. Especially with our children, if we can tolerate that they oftentimes reflect things that bring us shame and guilt. Like shame is I'm a bad mom, I'm a bad dad, I'm a bad partner, I'm a bad wife, husband, whatever, fill in the blank. Guilt says I made a poor choice.
Mhm.
Guilt is about our choices. So when we quote unquote, I call them learning opportunities, when we make a misstep and I hurt somebody and I feel like, oh, I wish I could repair this. I don't want this tension between us. It doesn't mean the other person's going to receive it. So the other person can still be super hurt and be defensive and not receive it. And I know I acknowledge specifically that hurt and pain to try to make the repair. I can't control whether they're going to receive it or not.
Yeah. So one thing, this may seem like an off the wall question, but we've talked a lot about apologies between spouses, between parents and kids, between kind of the family unit. Is there a difference, Kristen, between in your mind and guide us through an apology to a family member and like a professional apology, maybe in the workplace or at school or to your teacher, whatever that may look like? Do you see differences in those apologies?
They pretty much have a dotted line to the same
Yeah.
piece for us. So if you're at a workplace setting and you, let's say you are, here's one thing, like let's say something happened in the workplace, like you got bypassed for a promotion or
Mhm.
something like that, or somebody said something derogatory towards you. You're going to start off with an I feel statement. So I'm taking responsibility for how I communicate my hurt. This is very important. So I'm saying I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel scared that now I'm put in this box at work and you see me as the person that can't be a leader at work and I'm scared that I will never get out of that spot. Help me understand that. And then the leader, the boss can say, "Oh, let me acknowledge, yes, I can see how what I said to you in your last, our last conversation was really hurtful and now you feel like you're in a box and I am so sorry for that. I want to understand that. Help me understand how that impacted you." Very so and the leader in the organization or the person that made the wound, let's say it's just coworkers. If we can use I feel statements again with those core emotions, I feel sad, I feel scared are the two that I would or hurt, people want to say hurt. And sometimes that can trigger people because they're like, well, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to cause you pain. And when you can say, I feel sad or scared, people can go, oh,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm sorry that I caused you to feel sad. Or that is important languaging Hurt can be a trigger because people then go, well, I didn't mean to hurt you. That wasn't my intention. So if you can take it down to one of those core emotions, and here they are.
Here's the card.
Here's the card. We have the core emotions, and you can communicate from this place with an I feel. It's really powerful. And then the person making the apology can be very specific on their apology. I can see how when I said in the meeting that, I'm not sure you will ever rise up to be a leader, how that was really hurtful. And you're scared now that I have you in this box. Let's talk through that. Mm-hmm. It's a conversation to hear, listen. Everybody needs to be heard. And if we spent more time listening, less time talking, we'd do a lot more repair work. I promise.
So you said a key phrase there. It's a conversation. Tell me, is there any advice you would give or guidance you'd give about how to best, and what setting to best apologize? We have a whole world now. We're on Facebook right now. There's email, there's text, there's in person, there's on the phone. Any thoughts around that?
Great question. Ideally, in person is the best apology, because we can see the person face to face. We have physiology that likes that relational component of being in person, face to face with somebody, and we're more apt to be less defensive. We still will be defensive, but over social media, we can kind of hide. There's this hiding component, or texting. And I often tell people to write out the apology first to see how that sounds and read it out loud before you go in person with somebody. And if you can't be in person, the next best thing is FaceTime, Zoom. And after that, I'm not a big fan of texting, because we can misconstrue, misinterpret, or putting it out on social media. Now, it's a very public incident, then an appropriate apology needs to be owned out in public, so that's a different conversation.
Sure.
So I'm looking at more intimate, kind of work-related, relational-related. Definitely recommend in person.
Yeah, I love that. Like I said, I'm a big in-person person as well. So I know it's kind of a loaded question, but what I think we need to address. So Kristen, this was very helpful today. And again, I want to reiterate from my standpoint, I'm sure you would back me up. No one's perfect at this. We're not going to walk out of this Mental Health Monday and go apologize and just nail the apology. I will probably apologize already for something tonight at home that I don't even know yet that I've done, but it will happen. But if we can think about this every single time, or if you are anxious about going and talking to a coworker, a spouse, a kid, sit down and breathe. And then take a moment to think through what that apology needs to look like. Utilize some of these resources today, hopefully, that we've given you, just to be more intentional. I think that's one of our biggest goals here on Mental Health Mondays, to help you be more intentional. So, Kristen, if I am in a point of crisis right now, looking for some help, where can I turn? We always want to end this way on Mental Health Monday, make sure folks have resources they need. Where do I turn?
1-800-273-TALK. Please know that shame story wants to tell you that you don't matter, you're not worth it, you're a piece of crap, that you're defective. They're all the lies that we believe. And the truth is, you do matter and you are worth it. 1-800-273-TALK. Like, they are versed in helping you through it. If you don't want to talk on the phone, you can text. So that is one of the benefits of text. 741-741. They will text you back immediately to help you, to assist you. If you're here in Noblesville, Prevail. If you're in a domestic violence situation, emotional abuse, please reach out to them. They have a 24-hour hotline, 317-776-3472. And we have local emergency rooms. Community North has a mental health unit, as well as St. Vincent Stress Center. Please know that you surrounding yourself with support helps. I cannot tell you tenfold over. Don't try to do this alone.
No, absolutely not. So, and in the meantime, plan on joining us back here in 2 weeks, although it's dawned on me that might be fall break, so we may adjust that. So watch us on social media for some updated times, but stick with us. Go back and watch an old episode, see my COVID weight gain throughout COVID and loss, the whole thing. That's the great thing about archiving these videos, Kristen. We've seen the evolution of us over the past year and a half. So
that could be an episode. We should have had an episode, your journey.
The journey we've gone on here. It's been awesome. So thanks, everybody. Stay safe. Tune back in for Mental Health Monday. Kristen Boyce, you're awesome. Thanks a million.
Thank you so much.
All right.